So I'll let you know if he calls in.
Yeah,
And
of
I'll
course, of course. I hope he does, but it doesn't matter if he doesn't. Okay? So,
Okay, great.
okay, so we're leaving this discussion behind us now. Okay, it doesn't matter anymore.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we don't need to focus our attention on being miserable because we think our ideal scene and plan just didn't happen. Obviously, that wasn't the case. If it was important for the three of us to be talking right now, the three of us would be here.
Right.
Okay, so let's not fight reality. That's the first lesson. Is look how what you thought was wrong was actually right, and not just right, the perfect thing. Then you're free. When you realize that you can realize your perfection in this moment, and that everything led up to that, no matter how bad you thought it was, must have been perfect because it gave you an opportunity to experience what so few have ever had the possibility of experiencing, and that is your divine realization. You know, how many people have done that one here? Most people have had a hard time counting past 5 on that one. So if you've only got a handful of people who have accepted the experiential understanding of God consciousness until it was synchronistic, not just synchronistic, but in harmonic resonance with who you were, who you are. When you realize what the divine truth is and comprehend it fully and experience it intimately, then you'll know it's always been you too. Not only you, but you too. You as you're part of the wholeness of creation. You too. Divinely aware, divinely present, divinely conscious as self, as something transcendent from this level of consciousness, something beyond comprehension from where I'm speaking from. So let's allow that that's our truth, and then let's also allow that our experience in the moment is not our truth. And so why hang on to it? Why make it important what we're doing and who we've been and what our past is? Our past is nothing but an anchor to us unless we're free in the moment. And we can't be free in the moment by making ourselves significant in the past so that we're significant in the present, so that we're solid and real and frozen as a personality in time, one that can be comprehended by a dense level of consciousness. That's not the real you. That's not the truth that'll set you free. Being something that can be known by someone who doesn't even believe it's possible for them to awaken, and yet they can know you fully. If they can know you fully from a fallen level of consciousness, then you're not being true to yourself. You have to quit defining yourself. You have to quit limiting yourself with your assertions of whatever it is that you think is important or significant. The more importance, the more significance you put on the divine, the less you're able to comprehend it and experience it and express as it. I'm not saying that I'm expressing the divine, but on the other hand, maybe I could be. And if it's possible I could be, then what would it be like if I were right, and that each one of us can open and stay open, choose and continue to choose until you're fully present as an authentic you. That's such a beautiful experience for yourself to be that, and for others to experience you as that everyone is blessed by it. Everyone is inspired to grow, to open, to be that possibility that they didn't even know was real for them before they met you. And even if it were real for them before they met you, you said, God, yes, please be divine. I love it when somebody does that. Allows themselves to be free, to be grace, to be the truth of themselves. And being the truth of yourself is not defining it. It's not tooting your own horn. It's not creating a story or a tradition. That's for people who don't know what they're doing or where they're going. They create traditions. So since everybody creates traditions and everybody thinks that their tradition is the right one and was created properly, then what are we supposed to do about that for ourselves individually? Do we agree with the idiocy of the people who admit that they're lost and fallen but demand that they're right about the truth and that they know it and they believe it and that theirs is the one that's real, and yet they don't know what the fuck is really going on about themselves or anything else? You don't need to give reverence to the profane. You don't need to condemn it. You need to love it, but you need to look at it for what it is and realize that it has no hold on you, that it has no way of controlling you. Because now you're here as the real you, as the truth of you, of you being set free by your own self-realization of the truth. So what truth, when self-realized, would set one free? Would it be somebody else's truth? No matter how true somebody else's divinity is, that's not what makes my reality embrace the divine as its own. But isn't that what we're choosing to do here? To embrace the divine because we know it's us, even though we lost sight of it, we lost touch with it, we lost our knowing of it, our showing of it, our flowing of it. And yet now we're waking up anyway, and we're realizing that we have a continual choice to make.
Yes.
It's a continuous choice.
What exactly do you mean by continual choice?
Okay? A continual choice is one that I made in the last moment, continued to choose that was a good decision, and I'm choosing it for this moment too. And as this moment becomes the next, I'm always choosing to open and further express and refine and experience until I've mastered that thing that I'm observing. You don't need to put yourself at disadvantage here. Just figure out who you are in your willingness to freely experience yourself in your body. Whatever you're unencumbered, undefined, unquantifiable by human consciousness, the collective human awareness. What if you could individually choose to self-realize the transcendent reality that the collective human consciousness can't even conceive of? Isn't that what you came here to do? You know, it's the story, it's the tradition, it's what you're saying, but feel yourself and feel how closed that experience is to you, but realize it's also that you can choose to open and experience it, and you'll do so immediately. Limited only by your willingness to experience it. So that's what you're here for. You're here to hear me say, open and experience it and be the real thing here. Be the real you. Be that which everyone came here to be, and that is the full, free, divine expression of God consciousness animating humanity as each individual. That's what's real, that's what will free each one of us. And that's what we each have to choose, to open and experience the rather painful transformation of moving from the profane to the transcendent by the burning off of every lie, every belief, every thought that we ever had as a human. And that's all of them. All of them. There's nothing to save. You set it free. You don't save it. You set it free. You let it go. Because there's not one definition of you or a story that's ever been told that will do anything other than make you infinitely smaller than the truth of who you really are. So don't buy the story, not because it's not true, it's because the story does its best to comprehend you but falls woefully short. And so you acknowledge the effort, but you don't embody that level of consciousness as reality or truth. You say, good, good, you reached for the divine. Now, you didn't realize it, but you knew it was there and you reached for it. But you couldn't allow yourself to experience it because of everything else that you were holding on to. So now we get to experience what we're holding on to that prevent us from having an experience of ourselves as grace moving through life. Now, is any of that so significant and it's so important that grace cannot touch it and free it? No, there's nothing that you've taken on that's irredeemable, irreparable. You know, it doesn't matter what you did in the past when you open to receive the fullness of whatever the whole truth of you is. When you open to that, then that transformation controls everything. Nothing controls it. And you're just allowing yourself to surf that wave, to be on the cusp of that transformation, and consciously choosing to open and open further and further, more and more in each moment. Do we need to wait for a minute?
No, it's all good. I'm just listening. I haven't...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, our friend has also got the kids today, so yeah, our friend does too. But this is amazing. I'm just feeling awesome.
I would show it to Trayvon tomorrow or whenever I can post it and say, we need to deal with things on this level. We can't be limited only by what we knew before. We have to be open to knowing that that thing that we've been opening into and predicting and experiencing and knowing is going to shift reality for us. We actually have to allow ourselves and choose to allow ourselves to experience that happening to us and us going through a transformational shift in our embodiment, in our awareness, in the clarity of how we come through here. So we have to allow everything to harmonize with grace and joy and love and compassion. Everything in us surrenders to that and allows that to act as a transformational shift, the fuel to burn off in us everything that ever held us back. So let it burn. Let it burn. Because nothing needs to hold you back anymore. as you awaken, you'll no longer do anything stupid. Not just that, you won't do anything unconscious. You won't do anything without knowing that what you're doing is exactly what's for the highest good for everyone. From a universal point of view, not an individual one's. When we're opposed to somebody else, when we wish somebody else to fail and for us to succeed, we can't deal from that level of consciousness and have any idea of what our truth is. I erased half of or 2/3 of the one that I did the other night because I wanted to make room on the chip, and I pressed erase them all instead of erased everything but the last one.
Yeah, this is so great.
Okay, well, thank you for suggesting for the call, because this does so much for me, and there's a lot of continued transformation that needs to happen if I'm going to be useful for you or anyone else anywhere near where I could and should be.
Now we're gonna have this is gonna be great. This whole thing is gonna be an awesome
Yeah, but not in the future. Right now, you're
Right now,
you're making a right now happen. This happened.
yeah.
This happened because of what you initiated, and because you initiated that, we're both having a transformational shift right now. And so I'm saying
It's amazing. I don't know how this. You got your. This is amazing.
Okay.
Good old oracle.
You ready?
Alrighty then.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So, open and receive, man. You don't need to emanate anything. Open and receive. And continue to open and receive more. You never stop the flow. You just keep opening to it being more and more. We'll do my friend Rob's little mantra that he devised partially for me. And here it goes. It goes like this. I allow divine truth. Then you feel what happens to your body when you actually do allow it. As you allow it, oh my goodness, there it is. I notice divine truth. You allow it, then you notice it. And there's, yeah, sure enough. There's divine truth. Right here with me. And that's transforming my reality. That's shifting my consciousness. And that's a good thing. Embodied consciousness is so dense, so traumatic, so dark. There's very few that truly celebrate and love their life and are grateful in every moment for the opportunity to express themselves physically here as a human. Right? So let's at least open to that. Let's at least interact with reality as someone who loves being alive. Somebody who loves being you, loves being me, and loves being expressed exactly as we are. And in that full acceptance and the end of judging self, now we can open even more. We can open the door to that quantum leap. That stairway on that step on the stairway. An opening into a new and grander reality that is so much lighter and freer than the one we have been at. And we let go of the dense and the past. And we open in the present, right now, right here. We open now. We're not planning for a future. We're in the now only. So here we are now. And we're experiencing ourselves as what we are. But we don't like it. We don't want to do that anymore. So we allow ourselves to change in the now. Right now. Not some imagined future when it's going to be great, but right now is when we change. Right now. Right now. Yeah, right now. Right now is when the shift happens. It can only be right now.
Right now, right?
And right now is fucked up, man, for me. But it's been getting better for a long time. And now I can begin to clearly see that despite what I'm going through, what's going to become of me is fucking magnificent. And something I don't deserve, but will happen anyway. There is no deserving the divine. There is no qualifying. There's only the contemplation, the opening, and then the willingness to receive what we opened to. Not shutting it back down again as soon as it begins to shift our reality into an unknown future. And that's what happens when you're embodying divine and you're a flow of grace. You flow without knowing where you're going. But each moment that you touch in somebody else's life is, thank you. Exactly what they needed. And so you flow from flower to flower like a bee. And each one you touch was perfectly ready to give their most divine gift to you. And you took it and blessed them and said, I see you. I know you. And it's a beautiful thing to see you opening into your own freedom. And then you actually allow yourself to have that beautiful experience of observing somebody else opening into their freedom. As you observe me opening into mine. It's an interesting thing that this seems to be so impossible, and so painful, so torturous. Such a transcendent thing that we can't even contemplate it. Yet if we just quietly notice, we're flipping 50% transformed already. And that fire can't be put out anymore. We've chosen beyond the point of no return. We're going the other extreme. We're entering into a reality of wholeness, of oneness, of completion. And yet masterfully creating divinely in each moment, freely expressing in every way that you choose. So that's, you structure as much as you need to and as much as you have to be able to get the show made and funded and everything else. But as soon as the cameras are rolling, you need to see how far you can open beyond the script. Move into an expression of a union with each other. Into a celebration of how fucking amazing that other person is that you're focused on. And then, oh, look, there's more of them and more and more and more. And everyone is amazing. Truly astounding. Astounding to the point of, just magnificent. Magnificent. Really, really magnificent. So when you open enough, that's what you have.
That's great. So you're gonna go do this. We should be doing this regular. Like, we should do it.
Every night, man. Every night. If a bunch of different people want to participate, we'll do it on YouTube Live, and everybody can type in questions, and I'll answer things and do it live every night. Or at least we'll have to plan another one sometime soon.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I'm saying is we're looking at going forward into the whole, you could have that happening at wherever the compound is.
Yeah, of course. Even if it's only
a
production stage, who cares what it is?
No, it's got to be real. It's got to be real.
It doesn't have to be real. We're not playing a play. We're not playing a role.
Well,
we're actually
no.
I know what you're saying. I'm trying to give you another point of view to look at it from, so you can decide what's important or not. Truly, if you're making the set and the story and the acting and the performance on human
for the show. I'm not talking about the show. I'm talking about we want to Yeah, it can be on stage.
No, I'm not.
I meant more of. It's going to be great.
It will be great. But what's between us and it being great? Can I take a look at that? Okay, what's between us and being truly great? A lot for me. A lot for me. But I'm confronting it all. There's no part of it I'm not embracing. And in that embrace, I feel a compassion and I have an understanding for reality as it is, in a way that makes me much more able to deal with it beautifully. When you can see things as they are, then you know exactly what to do. You're not confused about what's right and wrong anymore. You know that if you do A, then the other person is going to feel blessed enough by that they're excited to be them, content to know that there's real purpose here. There's a real something earth-shaking happening, something moving into a new expression of reality, where reality is free to create without opposition anymore. All consciousness and all reality freely, consciously creating the most beautiful and amazing thing that they can conceive of in that moment, and then actually doing it in that moment, and everybody doing that same thing, that same dance at the same time. You're creating as a living master, but at the same time you've mastered the ability to create masterfully so completely that you can put most of your attention on what everybody else is creating at the same time. You can create as amazing as anyone has ever done with just a small fraction of your consciousness, so that you can appreciate all the other amazing things being done by every other divine point of view. And by point of view, it's the wholeness, it's the completion, it's the beginning and the end, and yet at the same time it's individuated and it's personified. So be the personification of the divine. It's okay. Everyone gets to that wants to. It's an inclusive club. All you got to do is want to be in it. And allow yourself to be changed into the person that they would be if they were already there. You have to go through a transformational shift, but it's not hard. All you have to do is let it happen. You don't have to write 100 books about it. You want a transcendent shift to occur in your consciousness, one that you've had glimpses of before, but continually forget and degrade yourself back into a point where you're searching for meaning and purpose and success? Yeah. That's what you're doing. That's what I'm doing. And what could we be doing instead? We could be doing something earth-shaking. We could be opening into a full, free expression of ourselves that everyone else can't maintain the fabric of their pretend reality anymore because they don't want to. They want to wake up and be like you. As soon as you open so completely that there's no longer any part of you that doesn't know the divine as himself. You know, it's not a trial or a tribulation. It's just simply the truth. Until you realize the divine, you don't know the divine. And the only reason you don't know the divine is you're saying no to the experience of the divine for yourself. It's as simple as that. You've always said no. We've all always said no to knowing the divine as ourselves. To experience the transcendent as our consciousness. But what if you did? What if you finally did? What if you finally did? That would be amazing, and it'd make everything that came before it worthwhile, you see. No reason to complain about the past when the past has led you to the transcendent present. You perfectly climbed that ladder of creation. Experienced each level as it actually was, and allowed it to affect you. But you kept taking additional steps and allowing those to affect you more, letting go the effects from the past, accepting the effects of the present, and opening to the further expression of yourself that will change the effects that are coming to you in the future. The opening. I allow the divine. I notice the divine. And I move even more as the divine. Om Dimai Shivaya. Soma, Soma, Soma. Align, refine, and harmonize. Now allow the radiance. I allow the radiance. I allow the realization. I allow the realization of the radiance as my essence, as my presence when I'm unencumbered, when I'm being freely expressed. If that's the truth of one, it's the truth of us all. And if it's the truth of us all, then it's the truth of you. And if it's the truth of you, why are you living a lie? Right? Why are you living a lie when the truth will set you free and make you infinitely greater and more than that petty, poorly conceived story that somehow trumped truth and reality? No more. No more. Allow divine truth, notice divine truth, and move even more as divine truth. Allow that Om Namah Shivaya frequency to move freely through your body, and that soma, soma, soma to refine and awaken you in the body. Allow the body to open and release and let go. And celebrate the completion. Celebrate your completion. You're in a transcendence, but you're complete with the past now. You're complete with the past. It's done. It's done. The only thing that matters now is now. To what degree have we realized our divine presence? Well, let's open to more then. Okay, now open to more of your divine presence. Yeah, starting to get nice, right? Open to more of your divine presence now. There you go. It's good for you, your divine presence. It really is. All of those ideas and beliefs and attitudes and judgments, so disgusting. The whole human thought system, We're letting it all go. God damned no more. You're letting yourself be free by choosing to experience reality as it is and accept what it is that you're experiencing in the present. At the same time, you examine your infinite potential here and open to embrace it and transcend where you are, all at the same time. You just let it happen, all of it. You don't have to control it. It'll take care of itself. Your only job is to continue to say yes to the transformation, yes to the shift, yes to the awakening, yes to the knowing, yes to the grace, yes to the love, yes to the allowance of the wholeness, of the fullness, of the eternal nature of you being what you awaken into right now. Go ahead. There it is. Open and be free. Open and be free. Open and be free. Wow. Open and be free. Allow the divine to be free in you. Open and allow the divine to freely flow through you. Just let it go. Feel it. Feel what it's like to have grace and love and joy and loving support of all life. Be what's flowing through you as a consciousness. as an awareness, as a presence, as an expression, as an understanding. The temple of God, awakened by the presence of God. Is the end of that transformation and the beginning of a new expression of you. One that you actually came here to be and do and have and say and show the way. So let it happen. Don't say no anymore. Don't say maybe later. But right now, say yes. Say yes. Say yes and then allow it to be true. Say yes and allow your yes to actually be a true yes. One where you don't take it back. One where you don't shudder in fear as you're torn apart by the destruction of the profane, by the realization of the divine within you. The divine is the destruction of the profane, because anything that identifies as the profane when connected with the divine can't hold on to their idea of their identity anymore. They can't even know who they are, because the transformation is so overwhelming that their sense of self is just gone away until they're moving in a reasonable level of harmonic resonance with that which was transcendent that they connected to. So let it happen. Say yes, open and be free. Open and be free. Open more. Open more. Open more. Good, 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 good. Good for you. Open more. Yeah, good, good, good. Nicely done. Now open more. Way more. Way more. Way more. Come on. Way more. Way more. That was just an initiation. Now the real thing's happening. Way more. Open. Way more. Transcendently more. Open. Open without limitations. Open without constraints. Open without resistance. Open without reaction. Open with only a resonance of the grace and glory and radiance of a realized, infinite, whole and complete you. So you see why I get upset with planning and structure, right? Too much attention on the future, not enough attention in the present. You put more attention on your presence of self in the moment, then you'll quit wasting your time. And you'll express yourself so beautifully that you won't have to talk anybody into anything ever again. Because you'll be it. You'll be what's real. You'll be what's true. And everybody's going to want more of that expression and experience for themselves. And it's funny, that it was so simple that all you had to do was not actively stop it anymore. You don't actually have to try at all. fact, the easiest way is absolutely no effort. You were asleep, now you woke up, so what? That's all there is to it. You were asleep, now you woke up, so what? You're awake now, so what? You're awake now, good for you. You're awake now, nice. You're still awake, even better. How much longer are you going to be still awake? Are you still awake now? Are you? Are you? Are you? Are you? Wake up, come on. There, okay, now you're awake again. Good for you. Stay awake. Don't say no. Don't say no. Say yes to your own opening, to your own freedom, to your own understanding, to your own expression of your truth. See, I'm not saying that I was ever any more aware or any better than you, even though, as my individual self, I always assume that that's the case. But and maybe with evidence for being it, but that's not the point at all. The point is that you initiated this tonight, and now is the only thing that matters. So it's your choice to awaken. You chose for us to have this experience, and you always know what what I'm going to do. I'm going to open. I'm going to try to open so well that it's irresistible for you not to open with me and know your own truth. Not by forcing you, but by inspiring you so much that you say, of course. Of course. And yet at the same time, who am I to say anything? It's pretty obvious what's real and true about me. And so why should anyone give any attention at all to what I would say and what I would do? They shouldn't. They shouldn't. It has to be better than this. It has to be better than clever. It has to be better than wise. It has to be better than, beauty. It has to be beyond human potential. It has to be from the divine. Awakening as the profane. That's the only point where human potential shifts. When the divine embraces the profane. And so you have to be the divine embracing the profane. You know the profane well. You don't know the divine you well. But you look at yourself. You allow the divine truth. You notice the divine truth. And you move even more as divine truth. And you align and you harmonize and you realize and you open and you say yes. Yes, finally I say yes. A big yes for me. Big yes, big yes. Big yes, very big yes. The biggest yes anyone ever yesed. If that could mean freedom for me. But do you have to be the biggest? No, you don't have to be the biggest. You don't have to be the best. All you have to do is say yes for yourself. There's no shortage of the divine. And there's an end to the profane. The profane is over when the divine is known as self. When you awaken, when you say yes instead of no to knowing your truth. I wonder if the words that I listen to tomorrow from this will be the words that I said. It never seems to be. The expression that comes live never seems to ever make it on the tape, on the video. So since you can't rely on the tape and the video, just rely on your choice right now to say yes. And take it another step right now. Open even more into your yes, of your realization, of your truth, of your wholeness, of your own universal and eternal nature of self. You let that transform you. You let that create a new reality for yourself, a new beingness, a new identity, a new expanded essence, a greater truth. And if you're broken, you allow yourself to be repaired. And if you're traumatized, you allow yourself to be healed. Remembered, restored, reclaimed to your innocence again, to the purity of your truth. You always return to the purity of your truth when you want to be set free again. Because once you identify too heavily here in this reality will knock you unconscious and unaware and compress your consciousness into the normal range for the collective human reality. So you have to open in the moment and experience the transcendent and not shut it down with a no afterwards. Keep saying yes. Keep saying yes to your experience of the transcendent in each moment. Don't start going into doubt and lack about the transcendent. Just keep saying yes for yourself, for your experience. Yes. 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 Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, yeah. A continuous yes now. See how easy it's getting? You're at a free flow, continuous yes now. An automatic yes for your free expression. You're never you're not second guessing yourself anymore to make sure you don't do something bad, because you're never going to again. You're choosing to open and be free, to act in awareness and responsibility. And how am I an example of that right now? Only that something's happening for me anyway, despite who I've been here. So the fact that I can ever experience anything transcendent while I've been who I've been here, then that means the average person should be instantly there when they realize that the divine can be their essence in their experience and expression of self right now. They just do it because they're open and free almost already. For those of us that have damned ourselves for eternity, it's a little more difficult. But it's not impossible. We just have to say yes a lot more times because of how dark we allowed ourselves to be. So you have to put your darkness in the light. You have to allow yourself to be seen, to be observed, to be criticized. But you don't have to agree to any of it. Just notice it for what it is. And allow yourself to transcend anyway, despite everything in the world, good and bad, right and wrong. And evil, too, of course. Even so. You get to choose to awaken and be free, be divinely self-realized, no matter the fact that the reality is still a lost one and a fallen one. You get to begin to play freely here now yourself. Now we're coming up on an hour. You want to make any comments or me to say anything in final, since I'm kind of coming into the habit of ending these at an hour because nobody likes me to talk for 2 hours. Did I lose you? You must have gone to sleep. Well, we'll wrap this up then. I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to surrender. And then I'm going to say something beautiful, I hope. You can always return by allowing for divine truth, for you to experience that in your allowance. And then with that experience, you have a noticing of it. I notice divine truth. That frees you in another way, so that you can then move more as an expression of divine truth. I move even more as divine truth. Yeah, allow that truth to transform the body, to open its potential, to allow it to grow into a place where it can freely express the truth and freedom. So we allow the body to heal, to be strong, and to be free. I allow divine truth.
Incredible article. I was like,
I notice divine truth. I move even more as divine truth. Om Namah Shivaya, Soma, Soma, Soma. Align, refine, and harmonize. Then you let it. And all that I said be true for you, to be your experience. and to be your expression. I allow the radiance and I allow the realization. Soma, soma, soma on that. Then you actually allow it and you experience it and know it. You know the radiance is your own experience within you. No matter how profane you've been. Doesn't matter so long as you took responsibility for it and allowed yourself to say yes to embodying the divine anyway. It's more of a hero's journey to go from the darkness into the light. But it shouldn't be that way, because who was so stupid to go so dark as we did? But you kind of have to, if you're going to awaken again. You have to know how bad it can get. You have to know that completely before you've mastered it. And until you master each aspect of reality, you're not exactly going to be free here. So allow your mastery to happen. It's not a job. Just allow yourself to absorb all the universal knowing and knowledge and experience. Allow all of that to resonate with you until you experience it as something that you know. You don't have to try to be it. You don't have to act. You don't have to play a role. You don't have to tell a story. You don't have to be an example. Because you're already what's real. Beyond the temporal. Beyond the temporary. What's going to be real? Beyond this body. For this consciousness. Is there going to be nothing? Could be. I would say probably not, though. Probably not. Not because that somehow limits me, but because it's so much fun to be universally whole and true, and yet individuated and dancing with other individuated, awakened, realized, harmonized, and glowing with divine radiance while they're embodied. That's a club I'd like to join and a party I'd like to be in harmonization with, so I can be celebrating everyone who's experiencing themselves as that. Well, that's something pretty good. And yet there's still so much to let go of in order for me to be fully free, but darned if I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, where before I only saw darkness. Not only that, I begin to see the light in me. I begin to feel the presence of me as an awakened, a wonderful guy. Something that I wasn't before. When I was what everybody defined me to be. When do you begin to define yourself? To have your definition be what's real and true for you. not somebody else's. When do you say yes to the divine as you're open and receiving that return embrace? As you open and say, give me a big fat hug. Then it hugs you back and you let it. You let everything in you that was less than divinely realized feel the embrace of the divine and allow itself to choose better for itself right then. That's how transformation happens. You have a connection with a higher consciousness. Then you raise your game and you dance with it. Until you become it and it becomes you. And it does, as I've said before, become you. In every meaning. So even though there's no such thing as becoming, allow yourself to be becoming. Meaning complete as a really beautiful expression of divine creativity. Yeah, that feels good. Now, I'm not exactly prepared to be dealing with other people because I don't really want to deal much with anyone anymore. I just want to clean up my life, take care of my responsibilities as easily as I can, and then move freely here. Knowing the transcendent is my experience of myself in each moment. Say yes to that for yourself right now. Right now again, now and now and now. Allow that transcendent experience in each moment. Say yes continuously to that. Well, I'm feeling some pretty big relief. Beginning to be at peace within myself. And why wouldn't you be? You've experienced the divine 1,000 times, maybe more. You know how to choose it moment to moment. But can you choose it for 5 minutes? We'll do this exactly 5 minutes more. Choosing to experience the divine of you continuously, the divine as you continuously for 5 minutes. of what is possible within the potential you. How much of that potential are you willing to experience right now? How about 1% more? You could manage that, no problem. Okay, I think we're done. Imran?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm fully expressed.
That was incredible. I felt like I was going into.
It was incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was incredible. Something amazing. All right, Oracle. I'm gonna get back to rehearsing on you.
Okay.
Stuff.
Good.
This is amazing. Unbelievable. Wow.
Well, this is one you should probably share with a couple of people.
Yeah. All right, Oracle.
Alrighty. Good night.
All right.
Well, we do spend our time in such odd ways. Keep choosing to open, and you'll be free. Yeah. To open is good for you, and it's good for me. Good night.